last meeting?
Mr. Wiseman isn't here, so we're gonna have like half the length of discussion about gutters.
And flooding. And derelict vehicles and everything else that,
Oh yeah, derelict
we
vehicles.
could all sort of, just, repeat for him. It'll take 5 minutes and we'll all sort of fill in again.
My partner was asking me how these meetings go, and I'm like, well, there's one guy that likes to talk about gutters for a really long time, and then he'll like start looking at his watch and saying, there's a football game starting.
Are you talking about Kendall's partner?
No. We're live streaming, we're not talking about anybody.
Casting his version to other members of the committee.
I think they're entertaining. I said, because then I start talking about trash cans on corners.
There's a whole lot to talk about now.
Oh, there he is.
Everywhere.
Oh, never mind.
Oh
Hey,
boy, here we go. You talked him up.
No,
I
I'm quiet
did.
today.
I summoned him into existence.
You did.
This one?
No,
You
dude,
need a pen.
you got your own name printed there. You're somebody, man. You don't
You know how long it took me to do that?
sign in on the blank one.
What, to become somebody?
Yeah.
What? You mean you weren't nobody before?
Mhm.
Oh, everybody's somebody.
All right, well, we'll see if we can wrap this up by 8 o'clock. Do you want to be up by 8?
Yeah, that's,
We
I
gotta
do.
be up at 8.
Yeah, you do? Everyone.
Excuse me, wait, you got an appointment?
Football.
I'm just tired. It's snow. I was
I
out
like
there
the
chopping
Super
ice.
Bowl this
You
year.
know,
I did
yeah.
that last week.
Football's over except for the Super
Yeah,
Bowl. on
exactly.
Sunday.
That's what I just, yeah, you're correct.
The party's at his house, so.
Oh yeah, what are you
guys
serving?
wanna know.
Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna buy a seafood boil in the
Uh-huh.
bag. Yeah.
Ah.
Okay, what time we starting?
I think the game starts at
6:30, something like that?
Did you memorize all the Bad Bunny lyrics?
no. Except for the
But
ice
who
one,
is,
the ice thing he said.
Okay.
I remember that one.
You just memorizing his
So,
speech.
who else is known to you? Did they mention anybody else?
I don't know.
heard Cardi B.
There he is.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Herbert will be here.
Huh?
Mr. Herbert is here. He's just,
Oh, he's outside?
yeah, he's on the phone. I'm on the phone call.
Oh,
He's
okay.
back in Georgia.
Alright, so,
No, he's here.
no, he's here. I
Okay.
think he said in March or April
Okay, so
sometime.
you've got the agenda, you've got my minimalist minutes from the last meeting. Any questions or comments about this, I'll let me know. Anybody else wants to keep minutes, feel free to volunteer. But my practice is to do them minimally, just to show that A, we met, and here's the topics we covered without recounting all the discussion about street flooding and derelict vehicles and,
And a new one. Poop.
Yeah.
All over, oh my
Very
God.
to this thing.
So y'all, that means y'all gonna help me? Like, we're gonna get together on that, on the poop?
It's all over this language.
Really?
It's like they intentionally did that.
I see mine every day, so.
Which meeting are you looking for?
Environmental one?
That's this one.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Slide in. Welcome.
I didn't know that.
I did the same thing.
I was just about to tell you. Grab a chair inside.
So knock the iPad off there.
No, because somebody else might show up. What's her name might come, so then you'll have to slide it up. That's all right.
How many chairs we have?
No more.
We got one here. Who else put them here?
On the young lady, what's her name?
Marissa.
Let's sign in. Welcome.
Tell us who you are, what brings you here?
My name is Barak Bula, just a concerned resident.
Okay. From what part of the neighborhood?
I'm Carol in Albany.
Okay.
You're on the right side of the street, right?
Don't matter. Don't matter. If we get told, we get told. We just thumb it home.
We don't get told. They put a ticket. They put a ticket
Don't worry
on.
about it. We just pay. We
Anybody
just
would
say
like
what's up.
to start us with the
second
second?
paying.
Yes, I really would like to reach out to the creator of our universe in Thanksgiving for that 5-year-old boy that was returned to his family.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that the dehumanization of us as beings, of human, has really taken a very, very devastating role. Only a couple of days ago, including today, ICE was right there at the corner of Nostrand Avenue
What?
and Eastern Parkway. Yes.
Really?
And my students going home, saw them right there. And we knew that they were there in the morning because the Congresswoman office kind of alerted us that they were there. So I'm pleading to the universe to send us some type of relief. Because when our life has no value, it really means that anybody can get hurt. Because it's not because of the color of my skin, it will be because you don't see me as a human. And it won't be because of the color of your skin. It would be the same. So I'm just asking the universe to be merciful unto us and grant us the strength, aid that we need, and the respect that we can share to each other. So not another life would be lost, not another child would be taken out of the security of their home. And as we work to build and make Brooklyn better, that a special light would be shone upon us, and we will be protected from the devastation and the ignorance of humanity. So it is, and so it shall be.
You're here.
For that. Okay, we've got a bunch of topics to cover tonight. No real sort of action items, but just lots of information sharing about stuff going on in the district and in the city around waste and recycling issues. I sent out, I'm going to skip the snow for right now because I'm sure that will be our primary topic we'll focus on. A few hours ago, and sorry this came out late, I circulated this email message with a bunch of pieces of information I thought would be of interest to folks. First, we talked a little bit at the last meeting about the draft solid waste management plan, SWAMP 26, and so here's the link to the website to find it. There's also a presentation deck on it. It's now in front of the city council. We have a new city council committee on sanitation and solid waste management that's just getting organized. A new chair, Councilmember Sanchez from the Bronx, is going to take over as chair. Got several Brooklyn members on it, 3 or 4, I think. But it's going to take them a little while to sort of get up to speed on this plan and figure out what kinds of hearings and discussions they want to have about it. So if anyone wants to go deeper into that, let me know. I also circulated in that email, these were the comments that I submitted regarding the swamp, reflecting some of the things that I'm keenly interested in. I only brought a few copies, so whoever would like to have that, please. Or it's attached to the email that I sent around. The second topic is collection and frequency times, and we talked a little bit about the DSMI proposing a change in the set-out rules for trash to allow for an earlier set-out on Fridays in parts of the neighborhood that have Saturday collection, and where there are more issues around religious observance that affect set-out. So that rule is being advanced to adoption by DSMY. I had some back and forth with the department about that and about trying to identify if there were any parts of our district that had Saturday collection, and in fact we do have some. And discovered in that process that in open data there is a DSMY collection frequencies map that you can access and take a look at and zoom in and open up any neighborhood you want, and it will show you when the collection day is for that area. So we should all sort of take a closer look at that. None of this rule coming back to us for consideration as a community board isn't happening fast, so we'll have some time to take a closer look at it. But the rule as written requires community board endorsement of any sort of change in collection time. So hopefully that's not too obscure a description, but there are parts of our district that this could be affecting that might want to have an earlier setup time on Fridays for their trash and recycling for reasons of religious observance.
You might as well just do that widespread instead of trying to do it by.
Well, again,
You know?
there's only parts of the district that have Saturday collection.
Right.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah, you know, my neighborhood is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So it's not an issue for us, but there are, so if you look at that map, and I took an initial look at it, but not a deep dive into it yet, there are parts that have Saturday. The other thing I discovered in looking at, or being part of the discussions recently is that there's another mapping tool called FloodNet NYC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you have come across it, but it begins to show where there are flooding sort of hotspots throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
There are some small ones in our district.
Mm-hmm. I know what it is.
And we are mostly not in a flood zone because we're not in, in a waterfront area.
So the purpose of this is to collect data, right?
Yeah.
And then do what with it?
So
So we're flooding, okay, yeah.
It's the
We're in the flood zone now.
target interventions, right? Once they know where there are areas.
But no, they should already know where they are.
Yeah, from people like me going out there, have sending them
Exactly, that's where they're
petitions and-
collecting the data, it's from 311 calls and other
Right, so I
kinds of,
don't know how this
observations.
flood net is, if I had one on my corner, like how that would really help me, you know?
Well, there's one on East 45th in Rutland.
And
Well,
there's one,
it's the
there's one on
focus-
Rutland and Utica.
It's the
So-
focused attention by the agencies that have that responsibility to say this is where the problem is and where we need to figure out a solution.
Right. Just
They
data
don't have-
collection.
They don't have the data, don't have the mapping tool.
So how long has this been out?
I don't know. Last couple of years, I think
A
it's
couple of
been.
years, so enough for
And there-
them to
and
like
there are
kind of
some-
sort of figured out something by now.
Well, we can have that conversation with them, but we now know that they have some data and some sense of where there are.
My point is, I'm just trying to say, once they have this, are they gonna say, yeah, this is flooding, this is where we're gonna take care of first, just like how they did Prospect Park, or this area is flooding, we need to do something here, you know, but, I mean, they wanna use this, but rather like me, somebody that went out there, house to house, and told you where everybody was flooding, it doesn't get through to them, but then maybe something like this will.
Well, that's the idea. That's the idea. If they don't use it that way, then we can call them on it, but we now know that at least I now know that they have this set of data and we're bringing it to
We
them.
just have to find out what they're doing with it, that's all.
So, that was it for that. Any questions about any of that?
No, sir.
The next data-oriented thing I wanted to share with you, I didn't send this out earlier, but I'll send this now. A bunch of folks said, sorry, I don't have copies. Samantha, can you show that everybody? Over the last 6 to 9 months or so, a bunch of folks have created this trash tracker data tool, using again data about DSNY's collection services and recycling collections and all that sort of stuff, and turn it into a dashboard type system. And so I would invite you to sort of take a look at that. It's down to the district level of what the recycling rates are on a district by district basis, and also some additional information about where trash from our section of Brooklyn gets taken to a marine transfer station or a rail transfer station, and then potentially where it's either a landfill or an incinerator. So it's intended to be sort of a larger sort of mapping tool. What exactly to make use of this, what use to make of it, is still an open question, but some people that were wanting to get this sort of data organized and create this sort of mapping system have created
Is
this.
Jason Ginsburg one of the people that's spearheading?
Yes. So again.
So what are they looking for from this? I mean,
Well, they're not yet using it for any sort of, action
okay,
tool.
it's just, yeah.
But they started in part to track where it is that New York City's trash goes for disposal,
Okay.
which has always been a little bit of a mystery. Information's been available, just not in an easily accessible way.
Hello.
And then, hi,
All right.
Yeah.
are we good? Are we good? Okay.
Very good.
She can't believe we're having fun.
And then the layer on top of that has been that since organics collection started a year ago, is to begin to sort of track how we're doing in terms of diverting organics for collection. And what it shows is that citywide, we're in the 8 to 10% of what's potentially available for diversion as organics is actually being set out for collection. So the way they know how much there is because the city every 5 years or so does a waste composition study that sort of analyzes all of our trash, what types, how much is generated, 60 different categories and the like. So they use that to say that in residential areas, there should be about 30% of the trash is organics and subject to capture. And then they weigh what they actually collect in the trucks and use that to figure out what the capture rate is. So it's been relatively stable the last 6 months or so at the 8 to 10% range. It gets some variation because of leaf and yard waste collection in the fall, Christmas tree collection over the holidays and the like. So those things sort of affect it. But what it's also showing is that so far that effort has not been overwhelmingly successful. It's sort of stagnated around 8 to 10% of what is potentially available for set out and collection is actually what the department is collecting.
But I have a question, and maybe because you've been doing this for a long time, like I see that like the recycling is increasing. So it's because this is an early stage program.
Right.
Like, if I remember correctly, you've been doing recycling for a really long time. Like what? Was it on track? Was it on track? Was it on kind of like probably the same numbers happened when recycling started?
That's a good question. So what's happened on recycling is it's been sort of flatlined for the last decade or so, which shows a marginal uptick.
Okay.
And it's not from my view, it's not a significant increase. It's sort of it's in the marginal area. But the recovery rate for recyclables has been stagnating at around the 50% range.
And is that partially from wish cycling or?
It's partly, and there's also a lot of contamination that doesn't get accounted for in that diversion number.
Got it.
So when the recycling program launched back in the early 90s, it hit that sort of 50% recovery rate relatively quickly the first decade or so, and then it's sort of been stagnant since then.
So I guess my follow-up
So,
question, at least,
The hope is that the organics diversion would grow,
yeah.
but the city's not really putting any educational resources into it.
Well, this is my question.
Nor any enforcement.
So we as a community board, like actually organics recycling is like, it's easier because you don't have to wash things. You don't have to like read all of these like numbers or figure out or like have as much guesswork. As a community board, like can we be launching an education, like, and I would personally, like, focus on the fact that, hey, this is easier, like, this is what you do, like, it's so much even simpler than recycling, and it's also, if we're putting it, like, if there's a way, and I don't know, because I'm just spitballing on information.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can tie in, like, if you do it correctly, maybe this can help get rid of some of our rats?
Well, so they certainly pitched it as a rat mitigation. Right?
Yeah.
But if we knew from this data that we were a high-performing or a low-performing district compared to others, then yeah, we could turn that into, yeah, let's do something as a community board to promote more and better recycling and more and better organics diversion. So we can have that discussion now that we can.
Now that we are
some-
getting
some data.
information. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just making a joke.
For what?
Oh, you're kicking me out of class?
No, no, no,
Let us
no,
hang out?
no. Your timeout is over. But at Princeton, we have a dance called the Rat Dance when I went to school there. And that's what you have to learn to do here. But if you go to France, they're rats. I'm just saying, that's why I asked her, did you go to France? They are rats.
They're all over.
Everywhere. And they've gotten smarter.
I personally, like, ever
Smarter.
since I moved to New York, if I see something moving out the side of my eye, I just assume it's a rat, and I'm not afraid because I chose to live in New York City. It's just that, understand, I work in sales. Like, what's gonna make it sexy for people to do? And how are we gonna get people to do it?
Yes.
And so that was why my question was about the rats, because people complain about rats. So if you can tie something into something someone already wants to solve, then that would be a way to make people do stuff.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Like, if we want the meeting to end early, for, like, we'll
Tell
schedule
everything.
it on a football night when it sees it's
When
still
we-
happening.
exactly,
And this man
exactly.
will shorten his arguments, and then we can go.
That's
So,
right.
like, it's all about
Yeah.
motivating.
It's all about, exactly.
The board comes first.
So Samantha, to your comment about how long I've been doing this.
And remember, you gave her their bio.
No, the last 2 hours before I came here, I spent monitoring this discussion with the Zero Waste Committee of Metro Vancouver. Metro Vancouver is a regional government of 21 cities. And their elected officials, council members and mayors, sit on a variety of their regional committees, including a Zero Waste Committee. And they're having their discussion about their solid waste management plan and coming up with some new definitions for diversion and recovery materials. And they're a very progressive, area, and they're very proud of, what they've been able to accomplish, but they also know that they're sort of, they're stuck at a certain level, and getting that next percent, the next 5%, is a huge challenge. And they've been throwing lots of social media stuff at it and whatever else,
But it's,
it's just, it's the challenge, so. Any other comments, questions, Ben? So lots of data stuff, you can go do some homework and look at maps, and you can come back and talk about it at a future meeting. So we talked a little bit the last meeting or two about identifying where neighborhood cleanups are going on in the area, and Isaiah, you were going to give us a little bit of help on that, no pressure, but.
No, that's fine. I know, again, Cleanup Crown Heights, they do weekly cleanups, so they post their cleanups on Instagram. I know recently they've been out shoveling some snow at the problematic crosswalks and helping clear out the bus stations and that kind of thing. So they've been sharing that on Instagram. And then Community Cleanup PLG, we also post on Instagram, but right now we're in sort of a, we went into hiatus because it's a little too cold for us.
Yeah, for
So-
everybody.
Right, so we'll be
Come
coming
on,
back
Isaiah,
in, I was outvoted on. So we will be coming back in, sort of in the next couple of weeks, we'll start
In
gearing
the
back
spring.
up again. Right, exactly, to come back and start doing some more cleanup, so I can share that information when we solidify the stuff. But those are the only two cleanup groups that I'm aware of that operate in this area.
But DSNY has a program where they have people, they're paying people to shovel snow,
That as
so
well.
I don't get it, I just don't get it.
I did see them. I think it was last Tuesday or maybe it was over the weekend. But they were on Nostrand, I think, further down by Maple, shoveling a lot of the snow. So they have been
Yeah,
out.
because they shoved all the snow when they came to clean the streets, all by the bus stops and, it's, and then Samosa, who is responsible for the bus stops. They, they Johnny come lately, trying to break up the ice when it's already frozen to try to clean up the area. Meanwhile, people have to walk on the ice to get on the bus or go around and go in the street. I mean, it's just.
This was
Let's
exceptional,
let's
this
say
was
this
like
now
the first thing we're doing though.
Yeah, let's say this on discussion for just a minute, we'll get back to that. Samantha, the last time I saw you, we talked a little bit about the repair reuse cafes that are popping up all over the place. And I don't know if you had a chance to
So-
stop in on one of those before the holidays or?
Rona and I have been in communication.
Okay.
We're actually going to, I'm gonna be out of town, but she is going to the Mutual Aid Society meeting on Saturday,
Okay,
to talk about possibly partnering with them in their free store.
okay.
And because they already have a good following. Planning on doing something around May to give enough time to find a food sponsor. And we're still talking about locations, to host it. I think we'll have a better transparency on that after talking to Crown Heights Mutual Aid. When I dropped the idea that he was coming to the group, there were a lot of members that got excited. And we do have some relationships with the Brower Park branch of the library. So I think it'll probably happen somewhere around there if that group gets involved, because a lot of our meetings are around there. But it is out until May. Rona and I have been shopping the different workshops to be looking at formats for it, and then once we get a better idea on concrete dates and locations, I'm going to be reaching out to some of my old-fashioned contacts to see if there's going to be anyone that would be interested in donating scrap fabric to do the mending and possibly teaching some techniques.
Okay.
But we're still early days in
Okay,
it.
so it's being social.
It's being socialized, yeah, it's being socialized. Part of the reason I got sick, missed the meeting last time is I was pretty darn sick, so now I can be out in polite society. Well, I should never be out in polite society, but I can be in almost polite society.
Rona was the one that came to the meeting last time, right?
Time before last, yeah.
Did she tell you that she connected me with New York University professor that was doing something in the New York Magazine? He came in and he did a documentary on the flooding in my neighborhood.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, Rona did that. Yeah. So she's around now.
Yeah, when are we gonna see your movie?
Oh, I don't know. Eric Kleinberg, or whatever his name is supposed to.
Eric's a star.
Yeah. So
Don't get too big for us.
We walked through the neighborhood. I showed them all around.
He's gonna be the next.
Oh, we went to the daycare center.
Borrow
I
his story.
gave a graphic description of the rescue of the kids when we flooded and everything. Yeah.
Who's playing you in the dramatized version?
Rod.
That's a good one.
They don't know the difference.
Did you volunteer for that?
Yeah, I guess I did, yeah. I guess.
No, he wanted to look like that.
You have your site card?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
crazy.
we did that. Me and Rona.
The discussion of Rona and flooding is a great segue to what I had Mia print out for me, which is what it was keeping me. So Kendall, if I don't think, I'm not interrupting you, am I?
Go ahead.
All right, so
Floor's
I
open.
mentioned at the last meeting that Dante was having some conversations with Anthony Coker. You can take that and pass it around. In those conversations, he was also speaking with Rona Taylor, and out came the idea for a series of flood workshops. So we would do, this is a proposal for 3 workshops. We would have before the flood, so what you do before the flood, what to do during a flood, and then what to do after a flood. The whole idea of this is to first, educate the community on what to do in these 3 situations, but then also build the momentum for legislative acts. So I'm not sure if you're aware, the governor has committed, I believe it's $750 million in the budget to, you don't have it?
She's making some.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Well, you can have mine, I've seen it already.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But the governor's committed $750 million to upgrade water infrastructure throughout the state. So the idea is that potentially we could get our electeds in Central Brooklyn to say, hey, give Central Brooklyn maybe $20 or $25 million of that so we can make our neighborhoods flood resilient. So Dante did a pretty good job setting this up. It's very in-depth. It has the goals, the objectives, the potential format, potential partners. Like I know he said we could potentially partner with the National Guard, with the Red Cross. It's a very in-depth document, I think. We were hoping to do the first session, I think it was in early March. I'm not sure if we put that down here, but I think we were trying to go for early March. We were hoping to get this voted up at the next board meeting, general meeting, so we could, get through this quickly because the budget passes in May. The budget is due April 1st, So the idea is that we hold these series throughout March and build the momentum so we can have something, a tangible budget ask before the budget is due in April.
Can I just say, I love that you're targeting, asking for resources.
Oh, I think we're.
Because this helps us to translate all this
I'm sorry,
into
say
tangible
it again.
results.
Say it again.
I love that you're making a budget ask because this helps us to translate all of our discussions into results.
Exactly.
Can you also, I assume that what you're talking about is the state budget,
It's
right?
the state budget, yes.
And I know you work for a state assembly person. Can you also help us to think about the city budget? Because the city also has a capital budget. That process is also happening now.
Yeah, it's all.
And they know that the sewers need to be replaced throughout the city. But it's gonna cost like a gazillion dollars, and as always, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And
Right.
our neighborhood tends to fall into that our whole district tends to fall into that category where things are bad, but they're not the absolute worst. And so we really have to make the case for getting something.
Right.
Well, I absolutely agree. I only said the state budget because, again, I work for the state, so that's what I'm most familiar with. But the idea is we want this to be a very broad thing. So we want to involve people in Bed-Stuy, in the other parts of Flatbush, and through all of Central Brooklyn, because the idea is we could get something on the state level and the city level. If we get buy-in from all the levels, we can actually get a significant, sum and put through a significant project to actually do it all at once. Because they're not going to say, well, the governor's not going to say, well, let's fund this specific neighborhood. She's going to say, let's do this whole area. If that's what's going to happen, that's the way it would be done. So we can absolutely do that.
If maybe you could help with research on like how much the city is thinking about spending on, first of all, like what's the city's overall capital budget? I don't know. How much of it is going to go to sewers? Because I know, like from my perspective as land use, I know that from the City of Yes initiative, which was like upzoning basically the entire city to build more housing, one of the things the city council fought for was more sewers. Like there was a surprising amount of discussion devoted to sewers, like we need more sewers, right? So if we need to have sewers replaced in parts of the district, and that's a very expensive project, like how much money is being allocated to that, and how much is it reasonable for us to ask for?
That is an excellent question, and I would be happy to do that and also work with Dante, see what Rita Joseph and Crystal Hudson can tell us about that, because I know the agencies themselves, my understanding is they're very sort of tight-lipped about all the infrastructure that's under the road. Apparently, for security reasons, I think they don't want to talk about that too much, so we'll see what the council members can do.
And then the final
Actually, there's a new sewer atlas initiative.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I know they're saying that
More aggressive mapping.
it's going to be localized access, so you can only request a very small area on a need-to-know basis. They're not gonna give you, I mean, which logically makes sense, but does kind of hurt when you're planning.
Where could I find that sewer access diagram?
Sewer Atlas.
Sewer atlas?
That I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's publicly released, I don't think, and I think they said that they're limiting it to developers, so only developers who need to know
Right.
what's under the ground will gain access to it, it's not open to the general
I think
public.
it's also still very much in a sort of beta stage.
Yeah.
See
And then the
what they
final
can
thing
do.
is because of Vital Brooklyn, where there's thousands of units coming to this area of the district around Rutland, and Utica, which is a flood-prone area. We've obviously made the case that this, we have issues with flooding, and I believe that some capital work has been done in that area to replace the sewers. You should check with Dante, but maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's not in all the right places, right? And so definitely, there should be an ask to Empire State Development, whether there's going to be any, because of that project, which is a state project, whether there's going to be more state money specifically for that.
And I live right there.
Yeah.
No, we.
So-
You were right the first time. We.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted me to.
Yeah, don't leave me out of this, Eric.
Yeah, we live right in the middle of the Utica and the Kingsborough
Right.
thing. I
So
mean,
this is a state project.
it's
and
gonna get us. We're right there in the middle.
So they should be putting money into, infrastructure development.
Well, yeah, but also the goal with stormwater these days is to manage it on site as opposed to putting it into the sewers as much as possible.
Well,
So there'll still be residences there that need sewers provided for them that are adequate. But yeah, just keep stormwater out of the sewers as much as possible and manage it through, various on-site, systems. So, and whether or not how much of that they're doing as part of that overall design. So,
which they're hopefully doing, but, regardless, if the state is doing a big development project, you should be asking them for
yes.
additional resources.
We went through Cunningham with that,
Well,
right?
it's not what they want is development, had to obviously accommodate that, and they built, they're finishing up a huge underground holding tank.
Yeah, I mean, that's
With 10,000
all part of the
units.
negotiation, that we're not gonna, say yes to this unless.
So, this is impressive, Isaiah. I don't know who gets credit, you share credit with Dante or whoever,
Credit, most of the credit goes to Dante because I was gonna introduce Anthony to Dante and get in there, and then Anthony said, well, I emailed Dante yesterday actually, so you just missed me. But I've been keeping on top of Dante to make sure this gets done. So a little bit of the credit is mine, but most of it goes to Dante and Rhoda and Anthony.
So, having said that, I think it's overly ambitious to do something in March, which is only 4 weeks away.
That's fair.
And particularly if you're gonna go and try to do this across multiple neighborhoods, not
Well,
just ours.
It wouldn't be necessarily across multiple
Figure out how
neighborhoods
to make
in the
this sort
sense
of
of,
manageable, but to allow enough sort of lead time to really plan it and promote it effectively, I guess would be
I think that's fair.
my reaction to it, so.
That's fair.
Even that means not starting until September, and there's a 3-part series in the fall. So, and also engage DEP in this.
Yeah.
So, I think I reported at the last meeting, I've been in touch again with our borough commissioner, and hopefully she survives the transition at DEP, but she's very keen on working with us around, things like this, so.
That's good. Well, even the idea is that even if we don't get something done this year, we start the conversation so that when the next budget comes around, we're ready to take advantage of the money.
Yeah, and for purposes of state budget, this is already too late,
Yeah.
but.
Well, it's
Otherwise,
never too
yeah.
late for a legislative ad. It's too late to get the governor to put it in her proposal, but it's never too late to get a legislative ad. That's what I'll say to that.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a couple of those, but yeah, good, okay, this is great.
Yeah, but you wanna make sure that everybody else is on board, so that the
Right.
resources are, available.
Right.
So,
Whoever,
who are you envisioning as sort of the lead on this, to sort of make it happen? Is it,
Well, it would have to be me. I can't come to the committee and then say, well, you guys should take the lead and I'll
well,
sit
no,
back. No.
you've identified a bunch of organizations here to bring this.
Oh, in
Right,
terms of
right.
that,
Right, is any one of them in a position to sort of be the lead, organizer, producer of this, and then bring in, you know, the community boards and whatever? I'm just asking what your
no,
thought is
that's
about who,
that's fair.
you know.
Because you know elected, they like to have their name on projects,
Oh,
especially when
absolutely.
it's a big project,
Just in.
Absolutely.
you know, so.
Well,
Who do you work with?
I work for the assembly member for Bed-Stuy and Northern Crown Heights. Now,
What's her name?
Stephanie Zinnerman.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with her that well.
Well, I'd love to invite you to come to our office and become more familiar, but let me not get off topic. In terms of taking the lead, the idea is mainly that the two people who will be assisting us taking the lead of this is Central Brooklyn Economic Development and Neighbors Helping Neighbors, because Anthony Coker has already put on events like this of a slightly smaller scale. That's how I came to learn about him, because he worked with our office to put on a sort of flood resource event. So it'll be Rona
Yeah.
and Anthony's organizations helping us with that.
Well, let's get that some more thought as to, sort of who's take the lead on this and bring everything else together.
Yeah, this is still very much in planning. So the
Planning
phase.
March was definitely a very ambitious timeline.
Right.
But the idea is that, you know, the committee approves this, when the board approves this, we can get seriously into the discussions, because we can't have the serious discussions on what will happen until
Yeah.
the board approves it. Okay. Well, any more questions? Because if not, I'll put a motion on the floor to recommend the board approve this draft plan.
I second.
You ready for that?
Well, I'll leave it to you to conduct the
You ready
vote,
for
Mr. Chair. I am absolutely ready for that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to think of how we would phrase this to the whole board, that, to endorse this proposal to conduct this, to partner with other organizations in doing a series of workshops around, flood issues.
That sounds good.
Agreeable?
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thanks you for putting that in front of us tonight, taking the discussions and giving it some structure. So, any further discussion about snow removal? Is our topic du jour?
I had enough of shoveling. Well, no.
Go back to, what are you doing here? You should be back in Georgia.
I can't wait.
We need a resolution to the collection.
This was like the
Yeah.
perfect storm,
So
though.
I
I mean,
think, you know, I'm interested to know in other parts, I live in the southwest part of the district. I'm interested to, and we definitely have not had collection. There's big piles of garbage
Yeah.
in front
Yeah,
of you.
we haven't had it either.
Over on this end too.
Yeah,
Um,
this is no
So
different.
this is a citywide issue, obviously. So I don't wanna say, you know, that we're not cognizant of what the issue is. You know, obviously there's piles of snow that have to be melted and all, but like, can we hear from and we know it's gonna take a while, but can we hear from sanitation what the plan is? At least like, you know, is there a schedule for when they're gonna get to it?
Well,
when
as
they're gonna
of
get
this
to it?
evening, when I got home, because I've been calling nonstop, and spoke to the chief,
Okay,
and he said that they're expecting some trucks from Queens to assist this evening
okay.
at 6 o'clock. Exactly, that's the time he said they should be starting. And hopefully they can get some of the garbage picked up. So I don't know how many trucks, and I don't know anything other than that.
That's fun. You say they're coming from Queens. I wonder, is Queens having a problem with garbage pickup, or they have it, you know, so in order that they can free up resources?
Well, I'm assuming that that's the case because, you know, if he's saying that they're getting some support from Queens, it means that maybe they have their areas controlled, you know, and most of the people out there probably have garages and things like that, so that it's easy to access their garbage.
I think what she's saying is that the mayor comes from Queens, so they got taken care of first, and
Oh,
Copy
stop
that.
and now they can share the.
Now they share the load.
It sounds like
yeah.
a
You're right,
perfect
it's a
storm.
perfect, it's a perfect
What's
storm.
It was a
that?
perfect storm. Look at,
Let
this
us
is
know.
one of the longest freezing,
Yeah,
lengths by days or whatever that we've had in 5
we
years.
haven't had,
But
right?
this was a perfect storm. I mean, I think they're doing the best they can with the people not moving their vehicles. I mean, it's just really hard out there, you know, with the temperature.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and because it's been 5 years, we've all forgotten
Yeah.
what happens during periods like this and how patient you have to be.
And a lot of new people have come to the city in the last 5 years too, you know, and driving and trying to park and leaving the front of the car out, and then the guy can't get down the street with the plow because the car's sticking
Mm,
diagonally
I've seen
now,
that, yeah.
you know, things like that.
So this, I think Brooklyn does have, I don't know, maybe like 13 snow melters. Are people like calling the garage to ask for snow melters in their area? Because I know
Well,
there's
where are they gonna put them?
I don't think Brooklyn has.
in the
it.
middle of the street. I don't know.
I've
No,
not
I
seen
don't know
one.
about that.
I know of 2 of them. I didn't know there were more than 2.
Okay. The other day I heard that they shut down Rogers Avenue and they were melting snow around the bus stops.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if this is what it takes, do we need to ask them to call the snow melters if that's blocking trash collection? So I feel like in some areas it is and in some areas it isn't. Like there's one apartment building on my block that actually put all their trash nicely outside their scaffolding and there's no snow there. It's just a pile of trash. But
Well, I think
that's
St. and White's
not-
messaging around this has not been as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, they have tried to say to people, keep your recycling longer and not just put out your mixed waste for.
Yeah.
Imagine the
But it's
compost,
also been,
everything is cold.
before some of you arrived, this has also been a test of containerization. Right?
Yep,
Because the idea was that containers are going to be the way we're going to handle
yes,
mixed waste on the sidewalks, and now you can't get the containers out or back.
that's it.
So you end up with this sort of mix of abandoned containers and bags.
And I see a lot of people doing that, putting bags out because they can't put the containers
Yeah.
out.
Right, because I called and
Put
the
bags.
chief told me, he said to take the bag out
Yeah.
and put it, so I put it on top of the ice.
Yeah, that's the best way they can get to it too.
Yeah,
Has
but
anybody,
even on my block, we made like walkways so they can come in
Mm-hmm.
if they really wanted to pick up the garbage. And the cans are, some of the cans are right there,
Right.
so, yeah.
has anybody actually seen, the garbage truck with the new, equipment that's got the arms on it? I've seen
Yes.
one.
Like in
I've
California?
seen one.
No, I've seen
To
it.
pick up the can?
They can't
Yeah,
really do it.
that's the
here
whole
because
purpose of the new
I
can.
saw that in
They
California.
can't do it here because of the cars are.
The
parked by the
exactly, they
street.
can't
So
do that
then-
here.
So it's in, they do have them out in,
Yeah, so-
like downtown, like Borough.
So
like-
it wasn't an issue that.
Brooklyn Heights has
because they're trying to fight making people buy these specialized garbage cans when like they're not even using them, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, we use a lot of containers on our block, but the sand workers come along and they take the bags out of the containers.
Right.
Because there's no point in taking the container
Right.
out of the truck and back.
I guess if
So,
you have a garage, then you can, they can do that.
I think the other issue is that in parts of Brooklyn too, like in Fort Greene, like they've started using these larger Empire bins
Right.
that are
I've seen a few of them.
definitely truck collected. And what the impact of snow and ice has been on those, I think is, I haven't
Well,
heard
so
anybody talk about that
that's
yet.
the other issue too, right? Like, again, I live in a part of the neighborhood that has a lot of denser apartment buildings. And, I've been warning people that if you don't containerize the garbage in the smaller bins with wheels and put them on the sidewalk, in some buildings, there's a lot of bins, like 12, 15 bins, something like that. If you don't
Yeah.
do that, then the city is going to put an Empire bin in the street. which is gonna take away the parking spots,
Mhm.
and then you're living with a dumpster 24/7.
24/7.
So, I don't know, that law is, I think, set to go into effect this year, right? Because
It's being very slowly sort of phased
rolled
in.
in, because up until now, I think only like buildings up to one to 9 units have to
Yeah.
containerize, the bigger buildings don't.
Right.
But, people may have to make a choice. I don't know which way the sanitation department is gonna head under this new administration, but under
Well,
the
yeah,
prior
the architect designer that sort of has led that whole movement towards containerization was in PLG. And I've asked her if she wants to come in and talk to the committee, so maybe we'll do that in the next month or so.
But, it's doable, right? Like, I've definitely seen larger buildings that have containerized everything, but you gotta buy enough bins. You can't
Yeah.
have like 5 bins, you need
You
like.
need more.
You need a lot.
And you need that space.
So it's 8:00.
I have one
Can I
item.
invite you to
one
say
item.
what brought you here tonight? Did you have a topic you wanted to sort of?
Well, I do actually remember why because I saw in the 350 Brooklyn email, they were encouraging to join community board, so that's actually why.
Ah, good.
Oh, good for you.
And I think I remember, I used to go to Swab,
Uh-huh.
things, I
Oh,
used to
solid
work
waste.
doing the outreach for the Brown Bin program.
Oh, okay.
Can I say one thing on the board, the reason I came here tonight? So you were talking about a lot of new people coming in, and I see that too, right? We've built about 4,000 new units in the last, almost 5,000 now, actually, since 2010, right? So that's a lot of new garbage. Every truck can only hold so much garbage, right? Do we need more trucks, right? And for those of you who live over on the eastern edge of the district, we have a sanitation garage on Winthrop and New York Avenue. That is not big enough to contain all of the trucks. With all of the new trucks they're gonna need, where are they gonna be parked? Because right now they're parked in the middle of a residential area. It's not an industrial area. They're parked on a street where people have their
Walk by.
homes and their apartment buildings.
And regularly
Well,
in front of the bus stop.
Yeah.
Every day they're parked in front of the bus stop, and sometimes I miss the bus because the bus doesn't see me because the
Because
damn
of the
truck
trucks.
is there.
Right, so the district has been asking for like decades for a new sanitation garage, but again, these things cost a lot of money, right? And even just getting more frequent pickups, because we have more garbage, like the street corner cans need to be picked up more frequently because they fill up, like daily. We need the resources for this, so like, what can we do to find out how much is needed in terms of extra resources to handle all of this additional garbage?
Well, we know that
That would be a study.
that garage is too small because they closed the garage that was on Troy and Crown, I think it was, or
But then they
President.
have one up on somewhere by
Washington.
Ebbetsfield, somewhere there as well.
I don't know about that
Has the
one.
board ever asked for a new garage?
No, not that I know.
We-
I know it's like a
Not that I know.
20-year, wait list.
But when they turned around, and closed that garage, right, they sent all those trucks down to Winthrop. That's what happened. So that garage was already packed and you sent
Yeah.
all these other trucks down there. So that was one of the, because they closed at that, I think that's where the school is now.
Well, it's crazy. I
School
mean,
they
they put the horse before the hay.
But one thing they did do, a similar problem they had in Manhattan, and Manhattan is very tight for space.
Yeah.
It was on the west side, they built up. So they built a multi-level garage for the sanitation. So perhaps, maybe that's the
Maybe we
answer.
could do that. I
Right.
mean, the thing is, we'd have to find out how much it costs, right? And then how, like, can we ask that? Can we ask
We want to give up
sanitation?
some land.
Well, they can use the same footprint.
Right.
They just have to go up.
Go up, right.
It's
Yeah.
not an overnight thing,
Yeah.
but certainly you could start the discussion about what the need is and assess what the current overflow is and that garage.
But like she said, the main thing
Winthrop
is
is also
to find
probably,
out like
80 years
the
old.
budget.
Oh, yeah,
Find out how
definitely.
much money
Yeah.
it's gonna need for us to get, some kind of improvement going on,
So if I have one item, if
Okay.
there's nothing else.
Last item.
Last item. So I was asked to look at an environmental investigative report. And this thing is very thick, it's 866 pages. I've been reading this thing since August, right? And it's for a construction site at 7399 Empire Boulevard. It's right across from the Western Beef. Okay. All right, so I read this report, and the reason why I wanted to read this report because it's very similar to a project that I had when I was working. All right, so just to back up a bit, I used to manage a hazardous waste site. Okay, and it had drains. It was like a little city. It had drains, this, everything, and we had a storm sewer, and we were discharging pollutants into the East River, over by Hellgate. All right, so we had a consent order from the DEC that we had to make sure we take care of all this, the surface contamination that was there. We also found out that our storm sewer was cracked. It was over 100 years old, so we had to replace 2 miles of that storm sewer. All right, so now to today. So I reviewed this report, and the investigative report showed that there was surface contamination at the site, and the surface contamination is several types of benzenes, lead, mercury, and zinc. So right now the buildings that were there are demolished. Right? So the buildings that were there, right, had a stormwater management system. Right? So the roofs collect its storm rainwater, goes down the leaders into the house trap, and then it goes out to the sewer. So since they knocked down all of these buildings, right, all of that contamination is exposed. So all of the rain, the heavy rains that we have, the snow, all the melt, all that now is leaving the site, right? And it's going into the catch basins and the sidewalks and everything, right? Because there's nothing there to prevent this contamination from leaving the site. All right. So right now,
Some of that contamination would have been contained within the structure, right? And when it was demolished, it was taken away, right?
so yes, but
So
what
You're
happened?
looking at what's still in the ground?
Oh yeah, because it's shallow contamination. So in other words, they didn't put together, when they started the construction, they were supposed to put together what's known as the stormwater pollution prevention plan, the SWIP. All right.
Right,
If
so
you-
that's what's being litigated now, why there's been a stop work order there, right?
Correct. All right. So like I said, I reviewed this, and one of the things that should be done, right? Basically what I had to do under my consent order and everything like this, and to determine the level of contamination that left the area,
Right.
the DEP should go out there, and they should, number one, have this site put together and implement a stormwater pollution protection plan. You don't need a permit to do that, whatever. They can do that. But also, the DEP must go ahead and sample the catch basins for any of this debris that might have washed in there, right? Because what's going to happen, as we all know, environmental rules and regs to follow them is very expensive. They'll start this construction,
Right.
and they won't protect the catch basins, nor will they decon their vehicles to leave the site. And the people, I've seen people there, they're not wearing anything. They're just going in and out, and they're going home, and probably throwing their clothing into the washing machine with the rest of the family.
Maybe hazmat needs to be out there too.
This is what I said.
And there was a court hearing on it Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, there was a court-
On the 29th, I don't know what.
Yeah, so there was a court hearing, and what happened, there was an order to show cause that was produced, and the judge, basically to respond to order to show cause, there's another court date that's set March 4th.
Okay.
All right, so March 4th, March
We're
4th,
still under a stop work then.
they're still not stop work order. All right, but one of the things that the DEP should do is to go out there and sample their catch basins in order to determine how much of this debris left the site and is in the catch basins. All right, so one of the things that I would like to do, are there any questions or anything that, with regards to this, what I said?
Is
or the
it
report?
DEP, is it DEC, who is it?
So it would be the DEP, right? Because the DEP has jurisdiction over their catch basins. Also, it would be the DEP in order to implement the stormwater protection plan, to have them do it. It's under their jurisdiction.
Right.
all right? And it's all part of the Clean Water Act and what they implemented in order to make sure that they're in compliance with that law. So what I would like to do is put a motion on the floor that we put together a resolution, I'll draft it, all right, in order to have the DEP go out there and sample the catch basins to determine the level of contamination inside the catch basin, if any. And also, right, to have a stormwater protection plan implemented. And that means that they will put berms around the site to make sure that no contaminants leave. They come with a decon plan. If any vehicles go within the site, they decon when they come out. And, of course, we have to identify the catch basins that are affected, and I can do that. I didn't get a chance to go out there to see that.
Do you feel we can trust the DEP to do their own testing? Or do you think, I think it would be a better idea if we got some kind of private
Well, we
contract?
can't, it's their jurisdiction.
I mean, they can open it up and we can test it, you know? I mean,
This
you
is-
trust that they're gonna say no?
Well, this is the DEP, this is someone that contaminated their sites, and they're the ones that jurisdiction, and they're the ones that
And
can
you
do the
trust that
sampling.
they'll test it? and-
Yes,
That
I do.
report is how old?
This report was, what's the date of this one here? I think it's 2022. Yeah, 2022, I
And
believe.
Rod, do you have a professional interest in this? Is that how you were asked to look at it, or what's?
I went through this. It's the same exact thing that I went through on my,
Right, but who asked you? Have you been engaged to do this work, or?
yes,
Okay.
I was engaged. I was asked to look at this report
Okay,
by Alicia Boyd.
okay.
I was asked to look at the report. Because, she looked at it, she didn't know what it was, so I said, give it to me, let me look at it.
Okay.
So I read the entire report.
That's helpful for us to know what, how this,
Yeah.
Oh,
how you
yeah.
got brought into this.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, she's the prime litigant against the owners of that site.
Correct.
Right, so to know that you're working with her is helpful for us to know.
Understood.
Okay.
So can I just ask my understanding, the developers were supposed to implement a SWIP and they didn't? Or is it that DEP was supposed to implement? I'm just trying to
So
understand
the
what
DEP
requirements
regs are very specific. If you disturb more than 20,000 square feet of space, or if you have a situation where you create 5,000 square feet of impervious space, you have to have a stormwater pollution protection plan. That's under the DEP.
And that's for every site?
That's for the entire state.
When have they ever done it for any site? I cannot remember like any site that's.
I know they did it for me.
Because you asked.
No, I was told they came on site and I was told.
Sites do that sort of routinely. You hear the developer, the owner, try to.
Oh, no.
Pull
I
a fast
checked
one,
all
right?
of the filings on all of these jobs and I have never seen a stormwater protection plan. I'm not saying that isn't required.
Right.
I'm just saying, I don't think anyone complies with this law.
Well, see, there are known hazards that are here. First, there was an investigative report that was done, and the hazards were identified. So once you have these hazards that are identified, and you create
So this is
That's phase.
a phase one report that was
Phase
done?
two.
Phase two?
phase 2 report. And once those are identified, you have to put a SWIP in.
That's the trigger.
Okay,
If you do a phase one and there's no
okay.
issue of concern, then you're done, right?
But generally, former industrial sites would be subject.
Oh, absolutely. So I would like to put in,
But I guess maybe you need to inform the board about this project. I'm not sure,
Oh.
You know what I mean, before,
Well, this is the project that the board spent a lot of
Yeah.
money on last year because it's that Empire Boulevard site. And how big it could be.
How's
and
our side?
all that sort of stuff.
which one?
So,
Did they do that for Rutland Road in Utica? Did they do that, are they gonna do that for?
They didn't do it for
Kingsborough
That wasn't a
project?
contaminated site. Wasn't a
I
contaminated
mean,
site.
that's an ex-hospital, who knows what's in there? you
So
know?
what I would like to do is to put a motion on the floor, right, that we put together a resolution in order to have the DEP go out and just sample their catch basins. So we can get a good idea if any of the contamination left the site.
is it okay? So catch basins within what perimeter?
Within the vicinity of the construction site.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I don't know if anybody would like to second that motion, but I put that on the floor.
I'll second the motion. Yeah.
I'm waiting for my Uber. Thank you, sir.
Right, I'm,
Go ahead, Kendall.
yes, the sampling needs to be done. Whether or not a resolution from us is the necessary or
Right.
useful way to have that happen or not, that I don't know. But discuss with Dante sort of
Okay.
how best to get that done.
Sounds fine.
So,
She's gonna look into it too, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you told us about this because this is, you know,
We
this
were
is
aware
good
from,
to know. I
the work that
didn't know.
Alicia's done was sort of like this, this,
Yeah, it was a very
issue, so.
interesting report. As I kept reading it, I was like, wow, wow. And then you see the buildings and going, and I'm like,
I
wow.
don't know if this even happened on all of the Franklin Avenue sites. Were
But I'm surprised she had it and she didn't know what it was.
Stormwater protection.
I'm familiar with it, and I read it, and
Yeah.
that's,
So I'm glad
it's
you
glaring. So,
Spice Factory, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
good?
yes, sir.
Contamination by clothing.
What time is it? What time
It
do you
is
have?
8:16.
8:16.
Sounds good.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned, Kendall?
What time
Any
are
Meeting
bets
we?
adjourned.
on the
What
football
time?
game?
Okay,
Huh?
meeting
Any bets on the football game?
No, we wanna know what time we.
Eric, who you betting on?
Yeah, we just want to
I'm
know.
taking
Boil.
Patriots.
Goodbye.
Get heavier, go heavy on the crab, please.
25 years ago, so the building at the Austin Park Station.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait, hold on, wait, wait, wait,
You have cartridge for that.
Okay.